Welcome to the GSTL. We've got two GSTL champions, in fact, today. It is going to be FXOpen against Prime. Only one of them will advance.
Yeah, and those two teams are certainly not messing around today. Both of them with a very, very strong starting player. But yeah, today is going to be pretty epic. FXO and Prime, both of them, they want to advance. Who's it going to be, though?
That's a good question, and right now, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Prime has such a great layout of players. The choices that their coaches make are often some of the best that we've seen, but you could say the same of FXOpen. I feel like these two teams are actually really similar because they both have players who have gotten to finals. They have players who do well overseas. They have famous players, popular players, but it all comes down to decision-making, I feel, and how the maps play out in this match.
Talking about players that were doing well, we just had Lenor coming back from MLG where he took second place after he was defeated by Life in the final. You remember when Life got this big-ass sword that he received?
Yeah.
Lenor actually toyed around with this earlier.
Oh.
So he kind of got the mini version. We have Live with his awesome sword, and then there's Lenor with his...
Where did he get that?
I don't know. It was somewhere. They found it somewhere, but yeah, he was playing around with that. So it was a little bit sad that he didn't get the big version of it. But well, in the end, we'll find out if it's enough to defeat the Prime team today.
Here's our team information, by the way. We'll pop that up for you guys. You guys probably know these teams pretty well already, but if you don't, take a look at this info. You can see the breakdown by race. You can see that the FXOpen team having a few more players in total on their roster, and really similar distribution in Code S, 2 to 3.
You know, with Prime, we now have Classic being the captain. He was kind of promoted after he did so well in the GSTL already when they played earlier. He's actually right now the best player of Prime in this GSTL season with wins that he was able to achieve.
Yeah, and he is actually quite a strong opponent. Saw him actually in the makeup room. Looks very confident today, and I'm sure that if things don't start off the way that Prime wants him, he'll probably come out.
I mean, he played pretty cheesy in this game, so he went for a lot of sneak and surprise attacks, but it certainly paid off for the Prime team. And today they are up against FXO, and it's not going to be easy. I mentioned earlier that both teams really are showing us the big guns even in the first match, and I mean, you probably already have realized what today's openings match is going to be. We have a Protoss versus Terran with GOMTV against Creator.
Yeah, that should be an exciting match.
You've
got two heavy hitters coming out right away.
Yeah.
I feel like both of them specialize in late game as well, so if we get to that late game, it's going to be insane. GOMTV is the master of comebacks. You know, when he's behind, he just sticks with it. He can make a comeback happen. But Creator, you don't want to face him with those 3-3 upgrades.
And it just shows that these guys are not messing around at all. Usually, you have a few B teamers starting things off just to give them a chance, and of course, the first players can always prepare. But not so today. Both of them want the first win. They are really serious about it. Both teams know that if they lose today, they are out. And well, talking about the teams, a little bit shy there at the right side, but this is Team FXO.
And Choya, man,
yeah.
He recently redid his hair completely. And I would say I am completely happy about how it turned out.
There we have Lenor in the middle. I talked a lot with him earlier. Select is actually here in the studio, and well, he came over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just came over from the US. He's going to stay here for a few months and pretty close to the FXO team. So we just talked a little bit, and Lenor was, of course, his cheery self and just making fun the entire time. It's pretty cool, toying around with the sword. I had to promise that I would give it back.
Yeah, that looks really dangerous. Well, let's look at the team distribution by race, and you can see whether they're in code B, A, or S.
Starting things off here, of course, with the Zergs as Lucky as the captain, Lucky, Lennox, Sirius, Whale, and JK has a lot of really strong Zerg players here.
And of course, our Protosses are Choya and Tyr. Choya does come out very rarely. Tyr, I like to call him the wildcard Protoss. He's got a lot of talent.
And here we have the Terran player as GOMTV, our opening player today, the best, and ASD. And as you just mentioned, Tyr is actually the best player for FXOpen esports in this current GSTL season with 3 wins and 1 loss.
Yeah, he uses really unique strategies. Sometimes dyes his hair different colors and even makes it curly if he wants to, as you can see there. But, you know, this guy, when you see him stand up on the bench, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get a 2-gate proxy or a standard long macro game. It's really hard to prepare for him.
And when we're talking here about the best players, is of course the players that have played this GSTL season so far. A player like Lenor usually comes out last or pretty late in the match, therefore he didn't have as many appearances as the other players. something that we definitely have to figure in here. Joya looking all business-like here. I like it.
Yeah, he looks pretty good today, but he is up against, well, that's a rough start. Is that Creator that just almost tripped him?
No, it's not Creator.
Yeah, no.
But I was like, okay, that would have been the worst start ever. Him tripping and just suddenly breaking his nose or whatever. We have to get an ambulance to the studio. That's the Prime team, of course, guys.
Yeah, recently been trying to do a lot of interaction with the fans overseas.
Yeah, indeed they did. A lot of streams from the house
and
on
I hope
Twitch.
that doesn't affect their practice too much. We'll see if it does here.
And we have, of course, Creator, Marine King to the right, and Maru.
Now don't forget about Classic. There he is. And this lineup of players is really scary when you just look at the names.
Today, in general, it's just going to be so good. I'm really excited for this team match. This is going to be so epic. The opening match already gets me really pumped for the FXO versus Prime match, and I feel that they are not going to throw anyone out that they are not 100% sure that he can take at least 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, definitely not. Let's look at those big names right now. I mean, just list them off there. Starting, of course, with Protosses, as Classic is currently the captain. Look at him here. Classic, Creator, and Rusi.
Still listed as Lucy on Team Liquid. We still haven't seen him play. And here are the Terrans, Marine King, Björn, and Maru.
Yeah, very strong Terran players, the Terran trio there. And last but not least, Terius and Arya.
Yep.
Terius been around a long time, used to use the ID Bumblebee for a while. And a little bit of a conflict there on the booth.
Well, I can lend them the Sword of Lenok.
Yeah, maybe that can settle it.
He actually tried to tell me that it's Excalibur. Joya just wrestled it out of my arms and suddenly wanted to kill me with it. I'm like, dude, what's going on?
Well, it appears to be made of plastic.
Yeah, maybe. Man, those plastic swords. If I stick that in your throat, you're gone.
I guess that's true, man. I didn't think about it that way.
So I probably shouldn't give it back to Joya, I guess.
Oh yeah, be careful about that.
Yeah, it's in safe hands with Linux. These guys are getting all so aggressive these days.
Yeah.
Same is true for Atosis, by the way, man.
Yeah, he's actually stronger every day.
Yeah. He's been going to the gym with me today again, and I have to say that he's really motivated. He really wants to change things. It's pretty awesome.
You know, here's Gumiho, the Nine-Tailed Fox, the Towel Terran coming out first, but I would say I'm really sad. I was actually going to come to the gym with you today too, but I had to install my internet. I do have internet now, though. I feel like a normal human being again. It's a great feeling.
I have a pretty cool story about what Atosis did today. Not at the gym, but when we went to the mart after that. I'm going to tell it later. It was pretty funny.
Okay,
He kind of embarrassed himself a little bit in the supermarket.
I want to hear this story.
Well, right now here we have the Terran player, the starting player for Team FXO, and he's up against the Protoss. As mentioned already, we have him up against Creator. Creator, of course, he won the WCS Korea qualifier, and he's now up against a really strong Terran player. This is going to be just such an epic game. These two guys are so strong. It's insane. Gumiho is playing his best matchup. He has nearly a 60% win ratio against Protoss. And on the other hand, you have Creator. Here we have him with 68% win ratio against Terran. It's like, what?
It's hard to believe, man. But with a puffy jacket like that to rest on during the match, it'll also keep him warm. I think he'll be pretty comfortable there in the booth.
And the thing about Creator is, I mean, just let alone his Code S statistics when he took down MVP with a 2-0 and Björn, it's this is going to be such a huge game. It's going to be a clash of the Titans in game number 1.
Yeah, I think that, you know, like I said, if we go to late game, it's going to be insane what these two guys are going to be able to do against each other. The map is Cloud Kingdom. It's a good map for Protoss late game at that 4th, but I think Gumiho can find a way around it if it comes to that.
Alright, well, this is just going to be epic. I'm so excited. You can see Marine King, his reflection here in the booth, and he will definitely... I hope that he's going to come out later on. I don't think that we will have a very one-sided match today. This should be a close one.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. And it's just a starting match. So this is going to be a defining starting point for this team match. Whoever takes this one is going to force the other team to start making picks.
When I had a look at the opening players and I just saw Gumiho and Creator, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, they were both just ready to pull out the stops from the beginning. And when I saw that as well, I was kind of shocked. It's like, well, I guess everybody at home is going to be really happy at least, but this is really stressful for these two players.
There we have the win ratio for both of them on Cloud Kingdom. Creator is only at 33%, but don't be fooled, guys. This guy is a monster. In this best of 1, everything's possible. The Towel Terran getting ready and Cloud Kingdom is loading up.
He uses that towel to wipe the blood off his hands of the victims he destroys.
I have the sword still here, he didn't kill anyone.
Yeah, no deaths, at least not yet.
Yeah, well, the first victim would have to be Creator, I guess. But guys, the game is about to start. We are here at the GSTL. Cloud Kingdom is our first map today. FXO is up against the Prime team, and things are starting off with Gumiho against Creator. Brought to you, of course, by Kowloon Wolf.
3, 2, 1, go! Feed my motor, burning tire.
Starting at the bottom left of Cloud Kingdom in orange, we currently see the Terran player for Team FXO. It is the Towel Terran, it is.
FXO, Gumiho!
Otherwise known as the Nine-Tailed Fox, and very strong late game Terran.
Yeah, especially against Protoss. The last two Protoss that he met were Trap and Puzzle. They didn't take a single map of him. To the top right, we have his Protoss opponent starting in blue, starting for the Prime team. It is
Creator, Prime!
Both players have placed down their original unit-making structures, the barracks and the gateway, indicating that they are, at the very least, going to be taking a safer expand, not taking any risks right at the start here. And Gumiho, he wants to get that Vespene gas right away. He's making a refinery.
Yeah, getting it really early here. Creator, on the other hand, starting to the top right, as already mentioned, he's so strong against Protoss. He has a against Terran. He has a 68% win ratio. He took down MVP and Byung with the 2-0 in his Code S group. He was able to win against Alive in the last Code 8 season where he had to play. And he was also able to defeat Byung in Code A the last time. So also one of the Prime players can tell the tale about how strong this guy actually is. It's going to be just such a great map between these two.
Yeah. Certainly will be. Now, the question becomes, what build are we going to see? Wow, look at that, a double gas here from Creator. So, even though both these players have less aggressive tendencies, they're looking like they want to, at the very least, put some poking going on here. With the double gas from Creator doesn't mean he's necessarily going to be aggressive, but it usually indicates that, at the very least, he'll be able to get a quick robo out and scout early on what his opponent is doing. And that's going to be critical when you face a gas opening like the one that Gumiho has. But if Gumiho goes for one of these Hellion builds, a robo is not going to be as effective, so it's all going to come down, I feel, to the tech choice of Creator.
Yeah, currently we have the factory building for Gumiho, and we are going to find out what exactly his intentions are on this map. We don't have a second gas for him just yet, so he's just sticking it out with the one refinery. If he doesn't add the second, then he definitely won't have enough gas to go for the Cloak and the Banshee here. So he might really go for a build that was more on the factory play or just trying to get a Medivac out for the draw play. And currently for the Prime player to the top right, we have the first Sentry. He didn't get any other unit. He did completely skip the Zealot, didn't even get a Stalker, straight into the double Sentry production.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, the barracks was just moved. He didn't even add an add-on at all. He starts the starport now. This is starting to look like it's going to be a Marine Hellion pressure drop where he rallies the rest of his Hellions behind. There's several different ways to execute this. And Creator is just going for a double gas, one gate expand. This build is obviously going to be a build where you get a lot of sentries out. That's what you use the extra gas for. But it's really interesting and kind of old school.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of sentries. You can see that he already has 2. He's now getting the 3rd, so this gas really comes in handy for him. And he needs it. He needs like the perfect force fields, depending on how many Hellions his opponent is actually going to produce. Gumiho currently also with the starport will most likely go for a Medivac here. There it is, Medivac in production. And to this time, currently we don't see Gumiho with the second gas. He's still sticking it with one refinery.
Yeah. And it looks like he just really wants to hit that Hellion Marine drop that we talked about. As you mentioned, the Medivac is coming out here. This probe will be shut down. He sees the Hellion, though, and that indicates some sort of tech, so he needs to defend against drops. Now he's going to want to add those extra gates because against this type of play, look at those gateway placements, by the way. It's going to be really hard to Hellion get in there. But when you face this type of play, you want to have as many Stalkers out as possible, and only one gateway makes it pretty tough you're not going to be able to make units instantly out of a robotics. You're not going to be able to get those immortals out right away to help defend. So you need as many units out as you can. So that's why he's getting those extra gates.
And talking about units, he really needs some damage dealers now in his composition. He's completely relying on these sentries now. Finally, the first Stalker being warped in just in time, because these Hellions and the Marines, whatever he's going to drop into the main base of Creator, it can do a lot of damage. He needs some damage dealers to throw them back.
Exactly. You're so right, because if all these Marines do unload, you can actually fight this amount of sentries straight up. There's 2 less Marines on that medevac than he would ideally want. Will he be able to save that one? No.
That was the most unlucky Marine I've ever seen. Yeah. The Hellions wreaking a little bit of havoc here at the natural. Thankfully for Creator, there were only 2 or 3 probes.
Yeah, and he got that force field off right
He
away.
actually killed 6 of them, so we caught that a little bit late on screen. He killed 6 probes in total, so that's actually quite nice. And oh wow, he might be able to get up the ramp here.
He's really taxing Creator's multitasking right now, just going in, attacking from 2 angles. He will lose one of his Hellions, but like you said, 6 probes already killed. If Creator had not gotten that good force field off, he would have lost even more against those Hellions. Really nicely done on the defense. And you can see a little bit delayed on the Observer move out there, but you know, this type of build is so strong because it's basically almost guaranteed to do some form of damage.
Exactly. You are trying to hit the natural, you're trying to hit the main base, and you need to do some damage, because if you don't, your opponent will just be so far ahead of you. One of the Hellions here going down, whereas Creator still has this double worker production going on for him. On the other hand, Gumiho just finished his second orbital command, can rely on the 2 mules now, can also produce 2 workers at a time, and is heading for Raven and Stim.
Yeah, and this is a really scary attack, because even though there are Stalkers in this composition, there's 1 Marauder added now. The Hellions are going to add a lot of splash damage. He decides not to stay.
The Hellions also being so awesome now against Zealots that are being warped in, so that will definitely help him quite a lot. It's just awesome to see how much pressure Gumiho tries to put on Creator now. The Prime player definitely, I don't want to say in some trouble, but he's definitely pressured by what Gumiho tries to execute.
Yeah, he can't really afford to make any mistakes right now, because the stakes are so high against this type of composition. 1 misstep, you lose all your probes to a few Hellion blasts. He's got enough units, I feel, at his natural and in his main base, though, and I think this is going to be the last drop that we see for quite some time. But his units are a little bit out of position, and these are actually bio units. He's got to pick those units up right away.
Well done, though, by Creator. He really was able to make sure that this drop didn't kill too much. And now the Protoss is heading into these double forge, so he can go for the upgrades. With the help of the Raven, he's now chasing the first Observer away. Yeah. This is actually so unlike Creator, actually saving one. Oh, okay, there it dies.
Yeah, that looks a little bit more normal. That's like the Creator we know and love.
Okay, but this time it's actually not his fault. I mean, with the Raven now,
and the Viking, there's no way to get away there. But this composition that we're seeing Gumiho build is really interesting. He's got a 3rd command center on the way, so he's not trying to hit a 2-base attack here. He's building a composition that's just really all-around strong with Hellions to support, so he's going to be pretty safe against Zealots for a little while he gets his 3rd base up, and I really like that, because also the Hellions are really threatening as well.
You know, you talked a little bit about the +3/+3 that Creator always tries to hit in the late game, and this is something that he already started to build. He's going for +1/+1, chrono boosting his upgrades, and this will help him so much, because Gumiho is a little bit behind when it comes down to the upgrades, and with help of chrono boost, the Creator can get so far ahead, and he's just known to hit these timings like perfectly. He moves out seconds before the last few upgrades are done, and then he hits this timing where he can completely overpower his opponent.
Nice little attempt here on trapping those Hellions. Only gets 2, it looks like. But the thing is, those Hellions, like I said before, are just so scary. Even with that many sentries, if he misses his force seals, the Hellions get in, they can kill 3 or 4 of those, and that would be a good trade for him. But you're so right, he does not miss a beat with his upgrades. The Twilight Council is almost done now. It's going to line up basically right with his 1-1. He's going to be able to start 2-2 immediately. And he got this 3rd base, actually, without any information. He now knows, but initially getting it without any information of the 3rd command center of his opponent. So really good game sense here.
And we have Gumiho once again on the map in the middle. Gumiho is the player who really puts on the aggression now. He tries to dictate the pace of the game and controls the middle of the map. As you already said, Wolf, with the Hellions, he has a force that can always try to sneak into the mineral line. And at the same time, he's trying to execute a multi-prong attack right now with a few units to the left, and the rest of the Hellions will try to sneak in the natural, and I think he's going to succeed.
Yeah, a nice little warp in here, but it's not good enough. Doesn't quite get the block off. It looks like he's going to get about 4 probes, maybe. Oh, he gets into the main base, and now his 3rd base is under attack. There is 1 Colossus, and that is going to be exactly what Creator needs here.
Really well done by Gumiho. He actually lifts into the main base right now, and there are not too many units defending the main mineral line. Here's the job, and the Hellions are now being protected by all those Marines and Marauders. Really well played by Gumiho here. Creator with a good defense, though. Oh, Oh, the Colossus!
He targets down, and Hellions are at the third base. It's like Gumiho has 4 arms right now, and there's no way you can stop every single one of his attacks. He's everywhere! Probes are going to kill Hellions. That's really weird, but he will get a few more kills there. And this is an insanely good exchange here for Gumiho. At the end of the day, though, he needs to get those units out because he didn't kill a ton of workers. He traded nicely. Killing that Colossus was really good, but he can't afford to lose his units now.
I love the multitasking. It's like Gumiho suddenly took lessons from Leonok. The Octopus with his tentacles definitely helped out a little bit.
Yeah, man. I was feeling the same thing.
But he needs to do more damage. As you said already, he was able to kill a few Harvesters, but only 15 in total. That's like 9 more than he was able to kill with his initial attack. So at this point, he really needs to do a bit more than he already did.
Yeah, and this group of units up to the north is really critical. They're basically in creator jail right now. There's not really much way for them to escape, so Gumiho's going to have to rescue them in some way. They can be useful later. He's got a few units he can drop, plus he's got the Raven. But Creator, if he's careful here, should be able to stop this attack to the right side and keep those units trapped back there.
Yeah, he does a really good job. And the thing is, look at his upgrades. He's already about to complete +2/+2, whereas Gumiho doesn't even have his armory completed.
Yeah, his armory's just finishing now. This is really risky. He's spread so thin right now, he's going to try to go into the natural, but if Creator shuts both of these forces down and kills his forces to the north, he's going to be in great shape supply-wise.
The thing about Creator is that he really doesn't miss a beat with his worker production. He knows that he's losing units here, but he does an awesome job with that. The cannon nearly able to take down the Raven, but only just. But the rest of the Marauders doesn't stand a chance against this defending force.
Yeah, he tried to make that drop work. Creator with an insanely good defense. It's like everything that Gumiho throws at him, he's got a hand to catch it with.
You know, it's a little bit insane, isn't it? I mean, Gumiho doing a really good job with his attacks. He attacks the natural, he attacks the third, he lifts into the main base, but Creator is everywhere, defending so well, and Gumiho is just not able to trade cost efficiently.
Yeah, he's just not. You know, he's trying every so often to attack. Now I think he may have found the opening he needs.
That was awesome. That was really good for him.
He will lose a lot of his units here, though, once again, but this time he traded decently well. If he can save the Marauders to get those medevacs out, I think that was the trade he needed. He's got another command center finished up now. He's adding additional starports. He's got to save these units, though. Nice splitting here. Sends the Marauders to the south, sends the medevacs away by air, and gets another Stalker.
Yeah, there's another force that just walks into the third base, and I have to say that I don't think Creator was able to cross the middle of the map in this game once.
Yeah, he has not been able to do it. He's got a forward pylon, though, where he's going to warp in 2 Zealots and send them into the third base, so there's not a wall set up yet.
He's heavily oversaturated at this third. He really wants to get the force so that he can transition the SCVs over.
Yeah, and he's going to lose a few of these Harvesters, but like you said, since he's oversaturated, it's not going to be the end of the world for him, but he doesn't have actually a lot at home to defend. One medevac is not going to be enough.
Those Zealots doing a lot of damage, especially with the +2/+2 upgrades that are already done. Oh my god, that is really good for Creator here. He already killed 10 Harvesters. Gumiho, on the other hand, over the course of the game, took down 27 workers and is now aiming for the natural.
This is scary. This could kill this Nexus if he wants it. He's going to go for probes instead. He's going to have that retreat path open with the medevacs. I really like his angle here.
Yeah, and he can kill the attack. He's going to take down the Temple Archive.
You're so right. Oh, he's trying. Wow. He took a risk there. He thought that one Marauder could get it. One more shot would have done it, in fact.
Oh my god. 16 hit points left. This is kind of crazy. He needs to make sure that there's not another force running in, and at the same time, another attack by Gumiho. The FXO Terran at the third right now, kind of trying to distract him again.
He wants to grab it, you know, and I feel like dropping 2 Marauders in there to get it would even be worth it. I think he should try for it.
I actually think so too. Does he have Storm Tech by now? I don't even know if the Storm Tech already completed.
Yeah, he didn't start it yet. I think he's a little bit antsy about starting it because he knows if he does, he's probably going to lose it.
That would have been such a good idea for Gumiho now. He doesn't know about it, of course, but still, this would really help him quite a lot. With Ghosts now already in his army composition, that would help him so much.
Yeah.
Well, Creator now has +3/+3 against 2/2. +3 attack has been started for Gumiho, and the FXO Terran is certainly still keeping up this pressure.
Yeah, I think at this point, the time for doing big pressure, though, is over, because if he keeps doing this, he's going to lose too many units. He's already down upgrades. What he needs to do now is get the Viking count up like he's doing, making 4 Vikings at a time. Get those Ghosts out as he's already done. He's made 10 Ghosts, in fact, already. Gumiho is the Ghost guy. He actually is the real Ghost King.
The 4th base is so important to Gumiho. He's low on gas, and with the 4th base, he has now gas number 7 and number 8, which is really, really important. He's, of course, a little bit ahead in economy compared to Creator. And every single time he sends another small force in to do a bit of damage, Those units at the third, not too successful, but at least they're able to keep Creator busy and draw a few of his forces out of position.
You know, the major pressure is over, but he's doing little things like this to buy him enough time to get +3/3. Oh! Gets that medevac. The Templar Archive still survives. Its shields are now up to about 270, so he's not going to be able to get that anymore, I don't feel.
And Creator decides that with the upgrades that he has, even heading into shield upgrades, he can now move out. And he has a pretty scary army.
Oh my god.
Oh,
where
wow.
are the Stalkers? There's just, quite frankly, not very many of them, and he's going to lose so many Colossi here.
He just lost 3 of his Colossi without doing any damage at all. He still doesn't have Storm. He's not relying on High Templars here. He's relying on Archons, on the Colossi, on the Stalkers and the Gateway units in total. But the thing for him right now is he's trying to do some damage, and Gumiho might find himself on the retreat for the first time in this game.
Yeah, this is going to be it for him. He can't fight that 4th base. He will probably try to move it to the base to the south or try to wait this out. He has a total right now of 16 ghosts on the map. You know how many snipes that is? I'm not even going to calculate it. But here comes the first EMP at the Vikings to follow up. This is a good angle for Gumiho. He's got Cloak for ghosts as well.
And Creator is now researching Storm. He's trying to get Storm into the picture. He's losing another Colossus though. And Gumiho is moving down the ramp with the units that he has. The ghosts suck Cloak. Can Creator actually force him back? It certainly doesn't look like it.
I would love to see some snipes here, but it looks like he just wants to fight now. The Observer is here.
Nice.
He moves back.
The reinforcement's really important here for Creator. With the original force, he wasn't really able to fight Gumiho, but then the reinforcements come in, and this gives him the power to push Gumiho back and to the 3rd base.
Yeah, it's looking really close here, army supply-wise. It looks like Gumiho will have enough to push this wave back, but the next wave of Warpins, will he have enough? That is the question here. Gumiho may be over-micring his units a little bit. Now he needs to actually turn around and fight. Now he's got a few more Marauders coming.
Finally, the +3 attack upgrade for Gumiho is done. The entire time he was fighting with 2-2 versus 3-3. And, of course, the shield upgrade. Storm is nearly done. And this Orbital could actually just die, but he's not gonna wait for that. Another round of Warp-ins will put a bit of pressure onto those chasing Terran units then.
I'm not even sure if Gumiho can stay here anymore. I think he may actually have to lift even his 3rd base if he wants to survive, because these heavily upgraded Zealots all have full hit points. His army is not. He doesn't have any medevacs really anymore. And the Colossus joins the fight. Gumiho having to fight a little bit here with SCVs. He's even repairing that Command Center now, but...
there's still a Viking though, and the Colossus is his first target. There are a lot of Vikings actually, but there's the GG. Creator just has simply too much, pushing Gumiho back. A great game by him here.
Didn't Gumiho make too many ghosts? I feel that may have been the case, because ghosts do extra damage to light, yeah, but against Zealots without snipe, you know, I feel like they were kind of dead weight in his army.
Gumiho expected Storm, but Storm wasn't there. He saw the Templar Archive, he even tried to kill it, but the Prime player relying heavily on his Colossi count and of course on the Archons. So all these ghosts were doing well against the shields, but he was kind of having them to kill High Templars, and they just weren't there.
And something else, you know, we talked about, or I talked about this briefly a few seconds ago, but it's like he had too many ghosts and too many Vikings. His actual ground army was a little bit weaker than it would be, and he basically had no medevac. So his army was stimming. You could see his units were always low on health.
And this was kind of typical Creator style, what you see from him. He stays back, he defends, he's getting his upgrades, he's getting the perfect army composition, and then when he hits +3/+3 and is comfortable with the size of his army, he moves out. The entire game, he didn't cross the middle of the map once.
Not even a single time. And then he's like, I got my 3/3, I'm looking at your composition, I think I can fight. Ghosts don't do that much damage. He didn't really get any snipes off. The Vikings were useless until the Colossi were there. Otherwise, they're just kind of floating around dead supply. I feel like Gumiho's ratio of units was not quite optimal in that last game.
Creator made a few subtle mistakes with his unit control when he used those Colossi at first and ran right into the Viking town, but disregarding those small mistakes, he played such a great game. Gumiho with awesome aggression, but Creator was just better with defending.
It's like everything that he threw at him, Creator was ready to catch it. It was insane. And imagine one thing else about this game that we didn't touch on too much is that there was just no Storm. That was a stormless game that we just saw. And he still, with all the Vikings and all the Ghosts, lost the game. It was incredible.
He had Storm in the end as a fallback, as a backup plan in case that when things go wrong, he could warp in a few High Templars and just make sure that the next wave might catch Gumiho off guard after he lost his ghosts. But that was a really entertaining game, especially being the first match today.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see who's coming out next. Who's it going to be?
That's going to be good. That's actually going to be really interesting.
FXOpen has so many good players. They might pull out a sniper like the Best or ASD to try to take him out, or they could
It might be a Zerk again. We might see Lucky again. He was one of the players that they really like to throw in earlier as second or the third player. And there he's sitting to the top. It's actually Lucky.
It's going to be him, yeah. Look at that. They want to put Lucky out early today, and I'm okay with that. Against someone like Creator, I mean, Creator's someone you expect to see late, so you put Lucky out early as well. That's totally fine.
That's going to be quite the interesting match. In general, it's just always epic to see these guys facing off, and today they are not taking any chances. They are throwing out the big guns. Lenok, we can expect him later in the game when it comes to later in the day when it comes to that. But right now, Lucky against Creator, that's gonna be definitely a good one. What's the map though? Do we already have a map? I don't think so.
No lobbyists hosted yet. We probably won't know until after our 5-minute break.
Yeah, we're heading into a short break, guys. We'll be back, and then we of course will know about the map and have a short interview with the coaches. And yeah,
indeed we will. See you guys in 5.